Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching a special broadcast here on DD News and DD India. And we are discussing about India-Israel cooperation and ties in general, but also cooperation against COVID-19 in particular. And joining me are two very special guests, the ambassadors of India and Israel, Ambassador Sanjeev Singla of India and Dr. Ron Malka of Israel. Dr. Malka will join us in just a bit, but if I can start with you, Ambassador Singla, thank you for your time and welcome to DD News and DD India.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Appreciate it, Ambassador. Let's start with the contemporary ties between India and Israel. Now, we are told that an Israeli delegation is in New Delhi with some medical devices and medical kits to sort of encourage collaboration between the two countries against COVID-19. Help my viewers understand what is in this delegation and how can the two countries learn from each other going forward?
Yes, as you said, India and Israel relations are at a new high. We are strategic partners, and these ties have been raised into a new trajectory by the historic visit of Prime Minister Modi to Israel in 2017 and the return visit by Prime Minister Netanyahu to India in 2018. Both the Prime Ministers have spoken thrice during the COVID crisis, and they have directed their officials to channelize bilateral efforts, bilateral scientific efforts, for a faster outcome when it comes to tackling COVID-19. And both the countries are cooperating across the entire spectrum when it comes to tackling COVID. And that essentially means four components. The first component is the protection equipment. India, as you are aware, supplied Israel with personal protection equipment at a time when Israel needed it. The second component is the diagnostics part, which is what you were referring to. There are some very interesting technologies which the two countries can scale up very quickly. And it is in that connection that you have a team, an Israeli team in India, in Delhi specifically right now. These are very interesting technologies because they are non-invasive, they are very low cost, and they promise results in less than a minute. And if they are successful, they can be transformative because that would essentially mean that the population can be tested almost on a daily basis. The advantage of India is that India offers a very low cost and very effective test bed to validate these technologies. And the effort is being spearheaded at very senior levels on both sides. On the Indian side, it is being spearheaded by the principal scientific advisor to India, who has designated DRDO as the nodal point on our side to carry forward the efforts. The third component on which we are cooperating is forecasting the spatial spread of COVID-19, or to be prepared for a second wave of any pandemic. And the fourth component is the actual treatment when it comes to the disease itself. You would be aware that there are about 30 research groups in India which are working on a possible vaccine. Israel too is working on a possible vaccine or other therapies. The point to remember here is that even if somebody succeeds in coming up with a vaccine, it's another thing altogether, it's another issue altogether to be able to manufacture it in scale for global distribution, for it to have any meaning. And that's where India's strengths as a pharmacy to the world comes in. India is the world's largest generics producer, and we are one of the global hubs of vaccine manufacturing. As I understand, the four techniques which are being tested, they involve audio, saliva, breath, and scent, and the testing has already begun. They are being tested across 4 hospitals, and they're looking at something like 20,000, 25,000 samples to be collected over 10 days, and the sampling procedure has begun. And India will be contributing. What India brings to the table is actually our scientific and technical manpower. Our experts are assisting in local testing in Delhi. And it's important because these tests, they have to be calibrated for both sensitivity, which is that these tests should be able to pick up even low-level symptoms of COVID-19, and specificity, that is, picking up symptoms only of COVID-19 and nothing else. And then these tests have to be calibrated, and this can get impacted by local environment in which they get adopted and tested, depending on the incidence of the disease in that environment. And the second thing which I mentioned India brings to the table is our huge manufacturing strength and production base for the larger common good.
Absolutely. So as I understood you, Ambassador, it is Israeli technology and marrying it with India's production capabilities and capacity to make it more affordable and easily accessible to a large population. Am I correct?
Yes, and I should add that in the process, DRDO, as you know, has its own vast technological and scientific base, and DRDO has developed its own technologies when it comes to diagnostic kits. It is testing some of its own technologies along with this effort.
Ambassador Singla, when we talk about India-Israel ties, in the past, defense was one of the only pillars of the relationship, so to speak. We had good government-to-government ties, B2B ties, business-to-business, and now we're increasingly looking at people-to-people ties as well. And in that context, how would you describe the current scientific and technological cooperation between the two countries? Because this is a new domain, although it was signed in the 90s, but we're seeing it, gain momentum over the last several years. So how do you describe the S&T cooperation as it exists today between India and Israel?
I think, frankly, the real news in India-Israel relations today is our scientific and technological collaboration. There is a rising emphasis on and increasing cooperation in science and technology and innovation sectors, and that's also necessary for our own socio-economic transformation. There is a lot to be said for the acronym which was mentioned by Prime Minister Netanyahu during the visit, which was I2T2, which is Indian talent times Israeli technology equals India-Israel ties for tomorrow. Now, Israel has strengths in niche areas like biotechnology, medical engineering, AI, and quantum computing. And given India's strengths in its vast technical manpower and as a test bed for scaling up technologies and validating technologies, there are immense and exciting opportunities. Israel is the original startup nation. India has one of the world's largest startup ecosystems. And that's why the two leaders launched I4F, which is the $40 million India-Israel Industrial R&D and Innovation Fund, which is specifically focused on areas where we need a transformation like water, agriculture, health, energy, and ICT. And it's meant to foster collaboration between Indian and Israeli startups. And that's why the two countries are stressing on increasing the number of Indian students, for instance, studying in Israel. And some green shoots are already visible in terms of success in both areas. In I4F, we have, if I recall correctly, 9 projects in various stages of progress. And we have at least 2 technologies that are now being scaled up in agriculture and health sectors, which have emerged from this fund. And the number of Indian students in Israel is over 1,200, including over 900 at PhD and postdoctoral levels. We are perhaps the largest student community in Israel at that level. And this number used to be, say, about 500, 600, about 5 years ago. The Joint Commission on Science and Technology, which we have, it has met twice in the recent past. And then the last time it happened was in Tel Aviv last year in March. And the progress and maturing in our ties when it comes to science and technology engagement, I think can also be gauged in our space cooperation. We are now working closely in area of, for instance, developing electric propulsion system for small satellites, health, medical devices, data management, diagnostics, telemedicine. There are areas of immense potential. And our ongoing collaboration across all the 4 aspects which I mentioned to tackle COVID-19, I think that's an illustration of our thrust on science and technology partnerships.
Absolutely. And Brother Singla, we've seen two conversations take place in the last few days, and those who have been the foreign ministers and defense ministers of India and Israel. How did those conversations go? And in particular, I'd like to ask you about Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh's invitation to his Israeli counterpart, Benny Gantz, and Israeli companies in particular, to make use of the Make in India program to invest in defense manufacturing in India. So if you can tell our viewers about those conversations between the foreign ministers and defense ministers of the two countries.
Well, as you're aware, there is a new government in place in Israel. The Israeli foreign minister, he had made a courtesy call to our foreign minister soon after taking over. And it was probably his thought after taking over. And this recent phone call, it took place in the backdrop of COVID-19, and the two essentially discussed the ongoing cooperation, apart from touching briefly on the entire spectrum of our cooperation. Now, as far as conversation between our Raksha Mantri and their defense minister is concerned, again, it was essentially in the nature of a courtesy call. But since the government of India has rolled out major initiatives, major reforms in defense area, where the emphasis is more on manufacturing in India and developing technologies in India, it is but natural that we extend an invitation to Israel and Israeli defense companies for opportunities which India presents. And I have been visiting Israeli defense companies here, and I must say, all of them are very keen to set up or to scale up these ventures in India and take advantage of the new defense reforms which have been announced in India.
The two countries just signed a cybersecurity agreement. Could you walk us through the main features and components of that pact?
Well, essentially that agreement provides operationalization of our collaboration in a fixed framework. COVID-19 has thrown up cybersecurity as one area which is of increasing salience. And the idea had been that here was an MOU which was thought about and explored to a great length during the prime ministerial visits. And the purpose now was to give it flesh and actually operationalize it on ground with greater momentum.
Well, Singla, when we talk about bilateral ties, the bedrock of any ties would have to be people-to-people ties. So in that context, what are the two countries doing together to, say, for instance, foster more cultural connect between the two countries in terms, as you mentioned, education or tourism for that matter?
Well, one major emphasis has been, for instance, to increase the connectivity between the two countries. We now have Air India flying over Saudi Arabia, which is a historic and a game-changer development. What we have been able to do also is to have another direct Air India flight flying between Delhi and Tel Aviv, which unfortunately because of COVID-19 could not actually be inaugurated, but we are looking forward to it as soon as this is over. So we'll actually have 6 direct flights between Delhi and Tel Aviv on a weekly basis. In addition, we have El Al flying to Mumbai. We have another Israeli airline flying to Cochin, to Goa. And the upshot of all that is an increased traffic, tourist traffic in both directions. I think around about 4 or 5 years ago, this used to be in the region of about 55,000 to 60,000. And after this direct connectivity, last year, for instance, the figures were almost 78,000 towards India. So that's a huge improvement, and our emphasis remains on increasing it further, whether we can connect Israel to other major cities, including industrial cities in India. Similarly, on the cultural side, one major announcement was that India would set up an Indian Cultural Center in Tel Aviv. This announcement was made during Prime Minister Modi's visit, and that center has now been operationalized, although it has been operationalized only in a sort of a soft manner because of COVID-19. But the good news is that it has been operationalized, and that will forge greater connect between the two countries when it comes to showcasing India's soft power, in which there is tremendous interest in Israel, whether it is yoga, whether it's other aspects of Indian culture.
And Brother Singla, Prime Minister Modi is one leader who invests a lot of time, energy, and effort into establishing a personal rapport with world leaders, including Prime Minister Netanyahu. And Prime Minister Netanyahu has said that when he wakes up in the morning and looks east, the only democracy he sees is India. And Israel is increasingly looking eastward for trade investments and geopolitical changes taking place. So in that context, are the two countries, India and Israel, best positioned to harness those changes taking place around us as we speak?
Oh, absolutely. As you said, the two leaders share a wonderful chemistry, and that's a very good thing to have because it paves the way for faster implementation of decisions that they have taken. And we've witnessed that in the recent past. And as I mentioned, there are tremendous opportunities on offer on the horizon. The world is changing and changing very fast, especially in the wake of COVID-19. And I think we are taking steps in that direction.
But on that note, Ambassador Singla, thank you so much for making time to speak to our viewers on DD India and DD News. Appreciate it. Thank you once again for your time.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
I have with me a very special guest, the Ambassador of Israel to India, Dr. Ron Malka, to speak to you, the viewers, about India-Israel bilateral ties in general and the fight against COVID-19 in particular. Dr. Malka, welcome to DD India. Appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Ambassador, let's start with the ongoing mission, the delegation visiting India. Help our viewers understand the significance of this visit and the personnel attached to this mission and also the equipment that they are carrying to India.
On this special flight, there is a delegation from our Ministry of Defense, DDRD, some of our best scientists, with some experts from our Ministry of Health. And they are working together, cooperating with the principal scientific for Prime Minister Modi and with the DRDO, Ministry of Defense, trying to find rapid tests for COVID-19. We are in the advanced stage of this joint research, and hopefully we'll have news within the coming weeks. This mutual research has started a few weeks ago, and now we're in the advanced stage, and after making some tests in Israel, the next stage is to make some tests here in India. We also have on this flight all our latest achievements, developments, cutting-edge technologies of medical equipment that we developed especially for fighting COVID-19. I myself went from one hospital to another in Israel, accompanied by our experts from Ministry of Health. We located all the devices and medical equipment that was found useful for fighting COVID-19. Some of them that were contributed, some of them with special budget that was given by our Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Gabi Ashkenazi. We gathered all this equipment and we brought it here with us on this airplane. It's basically remote control treatment, even a medical robot that was found very useful in Israel, and other devices and medical equipment. And what also we have in this, we brought out with us in this flight is advanced respirators. And what is very
Myanmar, Pakistan.
To press conference.